Hey, I'm Marcus and I'm playing Crusader Kings 3. Back in Barcelona, or rather the Duchy of Gothia, or is it now called the March of Gothia, right? That's the official term now, is it? Yes, the March of Gothia. And we're here with our good Infante, Raimon Guilhèm. Infante, you might say? Yes, he is indeed the son of a queen. And before I get into anything really here, I just want to take some time and talk about what has happened so far in this campaign, like in the first 16 episodes. And I'll be doing that with a good old mechanic, that is the dynasty tree. Way! There we go. Let's pan it back to this level here. Because this guy here, there we go. Do the click thing. Geoffroy of Angoulême. We don't know him because we've never played him. He was dead before we started playing. But he is crucial. He is very, very crucial in the way he set up his children with marriages, or didn't set them up with marriages. For example, his daughter Umberge, he married into House Limoges. And from that line, we had several important people as well in our campaign, but most importantly he had this first son Fulk, whom he set up in his marriage with Kundo II, who was a very interesting character, and if you watched the whole series you would know. And then he also had another son, a younger son, Godofres, and he did not have a wife for a long time. That was left to his brother Fulk to set up for him, and then he was married first to, let me check, there you go, Beatrice de Poitiers. So that was the sister of the then Duke of Aquitaine, and later on he married Adalida Bosonid, had some more children with her. Now, let's go into that line here. Maybe start with Godofres still, because then we can go back to the main line afterwards. Now, the interesting thing about Godofres is that, he did not have any land, but he was a prolific chancellor, and that was his main purpose. But his children, they got to be more than he was in his lifetime. Well, not more, maybe not physically, although I think his son, first son, Raimon Guilhèm, was rivaling in that sense. But rather in terms of power, in terms of what they were governing. And so his firstborn son here was Raimon Guilhèm, died recently, I think. That's 1132, 6 years ago. And he married into the house Comminges of the line that rules the county of Carcassonne. And since that was a normal marriage, their children would also be of House Taillefer. And so we have his son, Godofres, here. As you see, there's the kind of continuation of this line here, right? So we have Godofres having a son, Raimon Guilhèm, and he has the sons Godofres and Raimon Guilhèm. That's the continuation of the main line here. And Godofres here, 23 years old, a bright young man, he's actually going to inherit the county of Carcassonne. And so then we will have another Taillefer ruler in Aquitaine, or rather in the Occitan part of France, southern France. Interestingly, he also has a son called Raimon Guilhèm that is now kind of a mercenary leader. The Aquitaine band of Neuchâtel, okay. Don't know why that is called the way it is, but maybe he was in that region, and then when he started to create his band. Interesting to have an adventurer in the family. I think that's the first one. And interesting line here. As you see, there's already continuation with Godofres having another son, also called Godofres. So there we go. There's this direct line here coming from the first Godofres, who will now be the Counts of Carcassonne. There's them. Of course, he also had a daughter, Inès, and she did marry into House Périgord. That's where we can see the current our second cousin once removed. The current Count of Périgord is actually her son. Well, that's where we leave the line here. And then interestingly, we have the second line here, where there's the main Godefroy's line, and then we have the Auduin line. And here we have Mayor Auduin of Cognac. Again, Mayor is a term I don't like that much. He'll probably style himself differently, give himself some kind of fancy name that makes it bigger than it is, actually. Now the Auduin line here is famously famously discernible by their big noses. You would not see that, well, you see that very clearly in his son Auduin, and then still to a degree with his son Auduin. So yeah, there they are. But this Auduin here has kind of masked his nose with this helmet here. So what is all their line about? Their line, or whereas the Raimon Guilhèm line here, the main Godefroy's line, they are outside of Angoulême, outside of the main Taillefer realm and doing their own thing. But the Auduin line, or at least starting with Mayor Auduin here, they are very, very closely related to what happened to the Counts of Angoulême. And working with them, working for them, and were always very reliable when it came to that regard. So Auduin here, he was a spy master for a very, very long time, and at a crucial time when there's loads and loads of murders going on and schemes going on at the famous Court of Snakes in Angoulême. So yeah, he was very much trusted by, I think mostly Guilhèm, Count Guilhèm of Angoulême. And he, of course, has a son, Auduin, and Auduin here is married to Margarida of Limousin, so of House Limoges. House Limoges, we've heard that before. We'll get back to that in a moment. But their children here are now also inheriting Limousin, right? So we have Auduin Taillefer here, now our third cousin, and he is actually the heir to the county of Limousin. So we'll have another Taillefer ruler somewhere in Aquitaine. Quite interesting. So the family is spreading, definitely spreading. He also has a daughter, Adelais. I think she is not that prominent. Don't know exactly what happened with her. Yeah, she is married to Count Hugues of Chalon. That's somewhere in, I think, in northern France, is it? New Burgundian, so it's the northeastern France direction, yeah. And that's where we leave the Taillefer line again. So that is their line of people, and I think they've risen, right? They have risen from being a second son who was not going to inherit anything to be actually being able to produce counts at least 1, 2, 3, right? 3 generations down the line. So yeah, they've quite risen in their ranks and are now very much their own people. Interestingly, so that's them. Maybe I cover Imberge quickly because her children, while they were not Taillefer children, are actually very much tied to the Taillefer, especially when it comes to her 2 daughters and her first son Adhemar. Now, her first daughters here, like Maria, who was then married to this guy here, Eblé de Ventadour, whom we tried to track down for most of his life and did not find him. Apparently, or as they said, he was gone somewhere in the desert and did not find him. But Maria was also someone who was very famous at court for being a spy master. As you can see, she was even renowned in that position. And she was very much trusted by her uncle, Count Fouque, to be in that position, and I think she only left it for Auduin here. So the position of spy master, as you can see, is traditionally something that has been kept in the family. So that would be a person that really, really knows the whole court inside and out, and can be trusted through blood relation. And we'll see if that's going to continue or not. And then her sister Emmeline here, I don't think she was very lucky with her marriages, right? She married Count Emery of Montaigu. That was the first marriage. As you do see, she's also a renowned spy master and a murderer. Maybe we'll get back to that. And her first daughter here, Valence de Thouars. That's that thing again with the backgrounds missing. Don't know where that comes from. Oh, she was married to a Jew at some point? How did that happen? Anyway, no, the more famous marriage here was with Duke Centaur I of Aquitaine. So her child here is actually Duke Centaur II of Aquitaine, who is a very, very important person. As you do see here, very accomplished. He'll be around for a while, while being whole of body and so on. Very good commander, very good steward, diplomat, and of course a learned man. He is running France at this point in time. Because our King Ludbert here is still a child, and he has been regent for the longest time now in France. He rules the place, basically. So yeah, there we go. From her line are the most important people in France right now, basically. And then she had a son, Adhemar, who I think grew up at the court in Angoulême, not quite knowing what to do. And then he was moved between positions for most of his life at court. Like he was the replacement steward, and he was the replacement diplomat, chancellor. And as you do see, it made him kind of angry. It made him like kind of wasteful, finding ways to cope with all these things. But later in life, he actually got what we probably wished for, because he had this kind of claim to the county of Limousin. And when there was no Limoges heir in the line of Counts of Limousin, Count Guilhèm actually pressed his claim. Right? Made him the Count of Limousin. And from his line now, we do see that there was Ferrand of Limousin here. And now he has had the daughter Margarida. And now we are back in the Taillefer line. Right? That's where these two lines meet again in the marriage to Count Audouin. As we do see, that probably was a correct marriage. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. Yeah, 6 links. It's not 7. But I think I said that before. At this point in time in the game, we need to revise this rule, because right now everyone's basically related to everyone else. And that makes it very, very difficult, or would make it very difficult, to have any kind of marriage. And of course the AI doesn't care whatsoever. So there's that. So I will go down to 5 or 6 links being valid as well. That's fine. What I would still not do is any kind of first cousin marriages, if there is no really, really good reason for it and we need some kind of dispensation. I'll go back to that in a second. Now, I did say I wanted to have a look at the people that she killed. Roger de Foix. Well, I guess that was the one she openly murdered, but she had her hands at the court in Angoulême for a long time. Also had a son, Vaquera here, who is now Count of Montpellier. So there we see more rulers from that line here from Umberge. There she is, by the way. She was a seneschal for her whole life, I think, or at least from the point on that we got to put people into positions. As we do see, ambitious and compassionate. She was a perfect person in that position. Managed the court, basically, as somewhat of a right-hand, quote-unquote, man for Count Folk. Did so until she died of measles. Now, with her line closed, we come back to the main players. Drum roll. And there he is, of course, Count Folk. He died at 59, and that's in 1084. So that's now over 50 years ago. Quite a long time. So what happened with him? Of course, we know because we played him. And he famously had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 children. 12 children from, I think, 3 women. And of course, he had... I need to click this twice to go back. He had his wife, Kündo. There she is. Look at her. Still looking not that peaceful in her death, right? A woman who never found peace, actually. But actually, he had 6 sons with her and 1 last daughter, who's still alive at this point in time. And their sons include, of course, Count Guilhèm, then Taillefer, who was meant to be a bishop or cardinal but never got around to be. Then we have Robert Taillefer, very famous, we get back to his line in a moment. Their dead sons, Alazais, whose parentage was questioned because she had an affair with a lowly mayor at some point. And also Père Arnaud here, who did die young as a child. And then you have Geoffrey, who became a cardinal, I think, on his deathbed or something like that. So that was a kind of like weird honor that he was given before he died. But at least we had a cardinal in our line, right? So that's something we can boast about. And then of course their daughter Beatrice. Now, why was their marriage here such a weird one and such a memorable one? Of course, that is because Fulk here never really regarded his wife as a proper spouse, co-ruler kind of thing, right? He always ignored her, basically, until she kind of made herself known, and that was her thing, right? She would try to get his attention by all means necessary, and they are mostly childish things. And of course, she was also humiliated by Fulk when he picked his mistresses, or aimes as we would call them, which she would probably call concubines. But he had open mistresses at court. And of course, that's a huge humiliation for her. She actually went against these mistresses. There was a successful murder attempt at some point. We don't know if she was involved in that, but probably. Yeah, Kündo. She became a nun in a very old age. She didn't want to, but her son Guilhèm basically forced her to go into a nunnery, where she still schemed and tried to plot and tried to get back to court and all these things. So, yeah, she did not have a peaceful life, and certainly, as it seems, not a peaceful afterlife as well. Fulk does seem a bit more relaxed. I think he can be, because he made sure that his line was secure, and that his sons actually, and his daughters for that matter, got to go places. And maybe let's just wrap this up from the end again before we go to the beginning, just like we did with Godafrys here. Their last daughter, Beatrice, she was the odd one out, because I think she was born after Fulk was dead, right? Let me just check. She was born on the 16th of August 1084, and he died on April in 1084. Yeah, so she was born after her father had died. And she is obviously most famous for marrying, not that Irish dude here, that was none of my doing, but marrying King Per Raimon of Aragon. At the time, Guilhèm thought that this would be the perfect union to strengthen those Taillefer bonds within northern Spain. At the time, the sons of Guilhèm were already ruling in Gothia, so this was like the perfect choice to have these kind of two realms under Taillefer influence. And she has daughters, has daughters. She's still alive. There we go. And her firstborn, of course, Sancha here, is now the Queen of Aragon. I'll get back to her in a moment. Then we have another Sancha here. Apparently they really like that name a lot, because that woman here died, Montserrat, but then they had another Sancha. And her who has an Irish name because her father's Irish. But I guess that's kind of translates to Sancha as well, or something like that. So yeah, for whatever reason, that they really love that name in Aragon. Maybe they only just have that one name. So she, as you do see, is a spy master there. She basically controls that court, or has controlled that court for a long time. Had been regent after the death, untimely death of her husband here. He was 46 when he died, and made sure that her daughter here, Sancha, was actually marrying in a very prestigious marriage. And I think she had a big part to play in that when it comes to that. But I think we'll not go there yet, because we can talk about that when we go to Esdeff here. Now, her other daughters include the other Sancha here, now married to the Count of Alto Aragon. That's kind of west of Aragon, or should be part of Aragon actually, but was conquered by Castile some time ago. So that's her line. We have another Sancha who is now a nun, and Eugenia here. I think we did this, right? I did this, marrying her also back into the Taillefer line. Who is now the heir to Angoulême, and unfortunate looking. Okay, she's quite cute, isn't she? And we will get back to them, I think, at some point, because he is the son of another important person right now. But that's her line here, most famous for producing the Queen of Aragon. Penelope Taillefer here has also led a very tragic life, I think. Especially if we go back into her lines of husbands here, because as you can see, she had 3 husbands. First of all, we had Edward of the House of Wessex, so a very prestigious house, former kings of England. But she was basically, she was always used as a pawn to throw around. She was a bastard, daughter of Mariona de Villena, so an aimée of Count Fulk. And so she never had a strong position on her own. She was always just basically used as some kind of marriage utensil. Her daughters include Withbu of Wessex here, who was married to Esdeff as well, and that was a kind of dodgy decision, I think, that was not made by me. Also, her daughter is Gunilda here, who is now actually the Countess of Alençon, married to Roger III. We also have a connection with them, but we get back to that in a moment, I think. Yeah, and that's her, right? Her son was also Count Hugues of Auny. That's he was Count because we made him, right? Or rather, we made his father, Hugues here, Count of Auny. But he's now dead, no issue whatsoever, of course, because he was a child still. And that's that. That line here is basically going nowhere, at least for, Gunilda here, but her son is also not doing anything. A Ventadour, there we go again, that line once more. So that's a line that's just going nowhere probably, but yeah. So be it. She died in an accident, I see. Then we have Magdalena of Évreux. Also married early, I think, to Edward here. So right now, Countess, her daughter will inherit, but then of course won't leave. This won't continue with House Évreux, but rather a House Gonzales. Gonna have a House Gonzales in Normandy. That's cool. Not much to say about her otherwise. Geoffrey, we talked about him. He was also someone who was tossed around a lot. Went between Angoulême and Barcelona, and then was proposed to the Pope as a cardinal, which he went on to be, but I think he died soon after. Not much to say about him, but he was an asset again. Like most of the younger sons, they are all assets. And he, Henri, the Tournamir, as he called himself or styled himself. He tried to go against that. He was also meant to be a pawn and was moved between courts of bishops and later even to Rome in order to make him a cardinal. That didn't work out, obviously. He kind of made his own rules, I think, and wherever he went, he picked something up. So he was this kind of jack of all trades, who late in his life found the opportunity to marry her, Amburga de Montgomery, the firstborn daughter of Count Roger III, and his wife Beatrice here. So that marriage was one with many links in between, I think. And now, since that marriage here produces children of his house of Tournamir, yeah, he actually succeeded in what he wanted, which was land for him, or his new dynasty that he created, and he will go down in history. I think that's what he very much wanted, right? Being a bastard founder, famously one-eyed as well, never wore an eye patch, right? So this kind of maintain this I don't know, mystique, this aura of someone who's kind of dangerous and does what he wants, being lustful and callous and ambitious and so on. Very interesting character. We only got to see him from the fringes of what happened, but I think he's a very memorable one. Gonna follow that line down and see what happens to those kids of his. Then, maybe just quickly again, Alazais here died very early, as you see by the blonde hair and all. Our dark-haired folk kind of contested his parentage, and that was actually when Kündo made her one move against her husband that actually got him to recognize her, to give her some kind of attention that she never got again. So there we go. Alazais died very young, caused a lot of stress for folk at the time. Not necessarily because he was grieving for his son, but rather because of this whole situation exploding. Right, this whole Kündo trouble here and the troubles he had at time at the court. So that's very much about this. But then we come to Robert Taillefer. Now, and there's lots to be told about Robert Taillefer. As you do see, very accomplished commander. Was a marshal, renowned marshal at the court of Angoulême, famously a giant and possessed. So someone who was known for his random bursts of let's call it passion, where he would have these fits of rage, possibly also in other directions too, right? Could just somehow start weeping at some point. Very emotionally invested person, even if he seemed callous from the outside, but his honesty and lustfulness here, they really made him a very emotional person to others. Was an eager reveler as well, as you can see here, so liked all these kind of parties that were going on in Angoulême, of which there were many. And he also never held any kind of land. He was not ruling anything. But he was this very, very important person at court. And through his marriage here to Félicie de Lusignan, produced two children that even kind of surpassed him in his importance. Maybe not his firstborn son, Folk. As you do see, he was trying to continue, right, his line to his father, naming his son Folk. And that's him here, Folk Taillefer. Married into House Aragon, so that's the former kings of Aragon. That's something to keep in mind. And he, again, has children that are somewhat important. We have Robert Taillefer coming back to the father, right? He's a son Centaur, by the way, interesting name here. But he is, and that's probably why the son is called Centaur, married to Guigon de Poitiers. So we are marrying back into House Poitiers. Very important marriage here for someone that does not have land at this moment, at this point in time. Then we have Hermesens here, tall and beautiful woman, married to a meek and little man, Robin Girona, okay. who is a vassal actually of ours, of Raimon Guilhèm. So that was a marriage that was made to strengthen that bond with the famous house of Sardania here. So we see this line here is also used for these kind of prestigious marriages and making sure people stay in line. That is basically how Robert saw his role, I think. We have Folk, of course, there's the name again. Also a good-looking man, very capable in basically everything that he does, okay. Married to Ethelrith, Edric's daughter of Huis. Oh, I actually what it's called. Of England. So there's them. And another son, Abd al-Rahman. As you see, he was named after an ancestor from his mother's side. Folk here was famously married to Albira al-Biri's Umayyad, and that name here rings a bell because they were the famous Umayyad dynasty that ruled over most of Spain at some point. They don't do that anymore, but they were, so that's why they needed that connection here, or wanted that connection. Also the daughter here, Andrekina, who's already betrothed to Prince Bardolph of Burgundy. That's something to get back to in a moment. The Kingdom of Burgundy, very famous in our timeline here. Yeah, but then, let's get to the important person here, and that is Unia Taillefer. The name really means something, right? Unia being unique, being the one. And she is this, as you can see, tall, powerful, immensely powerful woman who grew up at court defying the norms, defying the rules that were laid out for her. She let it be known that she wanted to pursue a life of being a warrior, of being a commander, and she succeeded in that because she was so headstrong, right? This kind of like arrogance here, partnered with her bluntness that really made her go for her dreams and do not stop. So she became the first female knight, or miles they would still be called at that time. We don't have that knight term, that kind of chivalric idea still. And she remained in this position until now, and you do see he's currently the regent, so the most important person in Gothia at this point in time. Very accomplished in everything that she did, really. And still playing a major part at 41, still going strong. We'll see where she's going, and I have an idea. Oh yeah, back to that. Daughter here, Inez, died before she got to be an adult. We have Basile, tragically died. Mysterious circumstances, although I think we figured out who he was in the end. He was meant to be the second-hand man that Robert in the end turned out to be. Yeah, he was supposed to be the chancellor, and then also put in positions, or maybe in a marriage where his then sons would inherit, I think, La Marche was it at the time. But then he died young, at 21, possibly a murder. Oh yeah, his mother was Agnes here, who was murdered by Charles d'Angoulême. Oh yeah, okay. Ooh, that's her own husband did that to her. Like in retaliation probably for all these kind of children she had with Count Folk. Even though that happened before. Before they were married. But never mind, these things happen. His brother here actually is also a very important one, and that is Charles d'Angoulême. That is the son of Agnes here and the aforementioned Charles. Also has a son called Charles, so there we go. There's the kind of continuation here. And he's, I guess, the second most important person at the court of Raimon Guilhèm here in Barcelona. As you do see, renowned chancellor, can be a commander as well, knows a lot of things, is already 62, not in good health anymore, also being obese and delicate, as you see here. But he's still here. He's still doing his thing, still being the Chancellor. And having his line secure with his firstborn Charles, his secondborn Constantin, who's now a master of the horse. So this family is very prominent. I think she is married to, the Baron of one of the lands in Barcelona. I think he bought those lands. With Camilla here, whom we can use for a marriage at some point, as we can do with Anne. So that's going to be interesting. So, that is the line, well, not Basile's line, but rather the line of Charles d'Angoulême, his half-brother. Not much to say about Guy Taillefer really here. A very learned man. He was sent to bishopric courts, like the one of Alexander the Blind of Benevent. Also was in Rome at some point, actually, and was meant to be a cardinal, but died before he could achieve that. And then there's the big one. There is the big one. Count Guilhèm, who was later called the Wolf of Angoulême. Earlier in his life, he was called the Spear of Angoulême for his physical prowess. Important person, obviously, in the whole of Aquitaine, France, and even northern Spain. Got to be 72 years old, even though he was a count, and he only really had, Angoulême and later on Eu. Get back to that in a moment. He surpassed his position, and he was more important than being a count, really. As you do see, he was a renowned marshal, and he was a marshal for Aquitaine, as we know, the most important state within the state of France. Nothing he didn't accomplish, right? He was considered to be a true ruler. He was considered to be a family patriarch. He even won tournaments fairly. He did, really, I think. Famous battle commander, right? A master of campaigns and a rough terrain expert. Waged a lot of wars, or was part in a lot of wars, and most of them successful, especially the ones that he started himself. Now, what is to say about Guilhèm? I think we did the whole recap on him when he died, so won't talk too much about his accomplishments. We do, of course, know that he was married to Sancha of Bellac here, of House Barcelona. And her children are now very important, so we'll get back to that. And then married to Infanta Frunilde, and they had lots of children as well. That was kind of unexpected at the time, because he was famously not very interested in producing offspring. But he did. Probably some kind of duty or sense of duty he had, like he had to do this somehow, even though he didn't like it very much. And now his children here are the major players right now, even though some of them are already dead. The youngest, Elvira here, or the Princess of Fashion as she styles herself, right? She is married to Willem of Holland. I think we don't... Do we have a... I don't think we can actually... Alright, he's not the... No, we can't actually have an alliance with him. That's interesting. Okay. But anyway, that's her line covered. Then we have Beatrice here. There we go. Who became the Duchess of Cornwall. She very much always remained someone who was influencing the court of snakes back home in Angoulême. Schemed a lot, especially against her own family. So, yeah, I think that was the bad side of her diligence there. So, diligence part with callousness is not the best thing, I think. Her temperance, I think, did not play any part in that. But yeah, schemer until the end. Her son, now the Duke of Cornwall, so there's that line. Also continuing to be dukes and duchesses. Then we have Fouquin, very important person for Guilhèm. As you do see, he has dwarfism. And normally that would have meant for him to, not or be semi-acknowledged by his family. Probably would not meant to inherit anything. But Guilhèm made a show of it. He was the guardian for Fulkine, was called Fulk earlier in his life, but then was called Fulkine to kind of, highlight his size. But he made him the chancellor of Angoulême at the time. He also made sure that he was going to inherit by conquering Eu. So the lands that Guilhèm actually had a right to, based on his mother, whom he did not like very much. He is still there. He is the Count of Eu. He has sons, William here and Aznar. William, that's the name going back to William de Eu. So there we go. He's very much secure in that position, I think. That is, unless he's going to plot against us, which he might, because he really, really does not like the rule of Raimon Guilhèm here at this moment in time. Well, we'll see about this. We also don't know. I think his son William here is not going to have dwarfism because it doesn't show up here. I have this mod installed and this general rule where you don't see these kind of traits like beautiful or ugly or dwarfism for that matter until a certain age. So, but I think he's not going to have that. Well, I don't know. I don't know when Folk showed these signs of dwarfism, how old he was back then. Anyways, okay. Now we have Princess Archbishop Clemencia. What? Of Champagne. I still don't know what happened there, but we'll take it as it is, and that's the way it's gonna be. She married into the house of Blois, I guess the second most famous family, maybe outside of the Bourgogne family in France, and famously beautiful. I think her children inherited those traits as well. There's Sebastian and Eleonora. There we go. The son was also considered to be quite handsome. Probably not that handsome anymore after his disfigurement. Also promised to the church. I see. And then we have another daughter, Antoinette. See. All of them pretty. And that's through her, I think, not through him necessarily. All right, but that's probably this line will end here. Can offer to join. Okay, and that will be her. Now, of course, we have Raimon Berenguer here, but let's talk about Guilhèm for a moment. He was the firstborn, and he was really meant to be the successor of Guilhèm. Was raised by him, or rather under his guidance as a guardian. Was an ambitious person, was kind of bossy, so he had all these traits that would make him a fine ruler. But as you see, he died early, and he died of consumption. He caught that when he was the Count of Bergerac. And he did not have such a resilient court as the court of Angoulême. And he contracted consumption and died of it later on. But he died as the Duke of Gothia at the time. It's now the March. And since he left no sons or anyone really, this was passed on to his younger brother, Raimon Berenguer, who, kind of auspiciously, was called Raimon Berenguer after his grandfather, as you see here, Raimon Berenguer, the Old of Gothia, or Barcelona as it was called at the time. And he inherited that land, or those lands. He is a very conflicted person, right? And he, we didn't get to play him very long, because he was already very ill when we got to him. But he was an important character for several reasons. First of all, because his marriages, and I think the first one here is the one that counts, to Athénais de la Marche, produced 5 sons. that were to continue his line. And then, of course, the line of Angoulême in general, because he was the main heir to this now. He also had these fits that would make him called possessed at times. So, he was also very irritable. So these kind of fits of rage and anger bursting out at some point, even though he somewhat was a kind person, right? Forgiving and honest. Yeah, callous again, like that's I think the ruling family trait. But combined with his approach of trying to be a forgiving person, of trying to do the good thing, the truthful thing. I think made him very contradictory in the things that he did, and that is, for example, contracting lover's pox, which means he would have to have some kind of affair, right? Probably going to a brothel or somewhere where he contracted this. Yeah, so he was the Duke of Gothia at the time, also ruled all these lands. That was really what he was good at, right? He was a steward, and he wanted to rule over lands, make them prosper. That was his thing, really. Not wars or politicking or scheming. He had no interest in that. And that is why he also left the guardianship of his sons to other people. And his firstborn, of course, Estève here, was raised again by Guilhèm himself at the court of snakes in Angoulême, so did not see much of his father, actually. And Estève here is another tragic person in this whole line, right? Much like Guilhèm here. He was meant to be the next ruler. He was trained to be the next ruler. But of course, history is fickle, and he did not get to be a ruler at all. Although I guess he was as a consort, because as you do see here, he became the King of Aragon. Now, that is a very controversial thing that happened, because he married his second cousin, I think, Sancha here, the daughter of Beatrice Taillefer. And their marriage should not have happened by strict canonical laws, but by having this grand wedding where basically all the realm got together to acknowledge this, right? Guilhèm made sure that this marriage would be valid. And I think that's very beautiful in the sense that it's so medieval. Because you had laws in medieval times, right? You had systems and hierarchies and so on. And they were all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, it was always people that mattered. And in this case, if you host a grand wedding where everyone's sitting in that church, you have kings there and dukes and so on, and they are all there, and nobody says anything about it, and they proceed with the marriage, then that marriage is valid in the eyes of those people. So nothing that could be done about this. Possibly the Pope could have done something. But then again, Guilhèm was so famous for basically complying to the church, or proactively seeking the graces of the church. And he was considered a religious icon, I think, when he died. So yeah, this marriage here happened, and it produced offspring, and we'll get back to that in a moment. But let's go to Albert here, who is, I think he's the antagonist now, is Count Albert. Currently wounded, probably will recover from it, and as you see here, currently the Count of Angoulême, our ancestral home. And with his traits here, you do see that he's up to no good at all. He will pursue people, he will indulge in murder schemes, and as you do see, he's very capable in basically everything that he does. He's someone to look out for. I think Raimon Berenguer trusted Albert in a sense. He put him in important positions. Again, because he was his son, it's because of the direct relation. But for his nephew now, Albert's nephew, and our character, he's the villain, I think. He's already, I think, he was part of the main leader of the faction to lower the control in this March of Gothia, and succeeded. And I think he won't stop there. His son now, called Raimon Guilhèm, right? So there we can see he wants to portray this role here and say, I am continuing this line here, not the ones from my older brother. And he actually made sure that his son here, Raimon Guilhèm, would again betroth into the line of Queen Sancha as well. So there we go. Kind of seeks this connection as well. Although she is only the half sister of Queen Sancha. But nevertheless, that's where he stakes his claim. I have Emilio here, who is not that much of a consequential person, I think. Currently antiquarian. A shy person. Not someone who really wants to do anything about anything. So there we have Guilhèm. The last son also died before his time. He was actually married to the Princess of France, Denise here, who has also died in a quote-unquote accident. They have a son, Salvatore, here, who grows up at our court. Let's see what will happen to his line in the future. Of course, this son here, Salvatore, does have famous parents now, or parentages, right? With his grandfather being the king, and then being also grandson of Raimon Guilhèm. We'll see where we get to this. But now we go to Estève's children. And before his untimely death, he produced 2 sons and a daughter. His daughter was actually from his first marriage to his own, I think, first cousin at the time, with Boer here. A marriage that we did not condone, but that ultimately happened. By some kind of, I don't know what kind of chance that was, but she died in childbirth then, and they only had one daughter here, who's now, married to a baron, an heir to a county. We could have done better with this, I think. She would have been the only, kind of bargaining chip for Raimon Guilhèm right now, but he doesn't have any. So there we go. He is actually, he's allied to Aragon, and that's it for him currently. He also has a younger brother, Infant Ulrich, who's also not at our court, but rather at our mother's court. Going to be a bright man, zealous, arrogant, callous, as the usual Taillefers are. We'll see what to make of him. He's currently the player heir, obviously. So if should anything happen to Raimon Guilhèm, he will take over. And then, of course, there's the main man that we currently play, Infant Raimon Guilhèm, who is obviously also the heir to the Kingdom of Aragon. And I think, by the way, the game works here. He will actually become king and keep Gothia within his realm, fingers crossed. I think that's what should happen. Because we have this rule where you have high crown authority, and then you can't have someone from the outside inheriting someone from within your realm, but he's going to do it the other way around, right? He is inheriting something from the outside, and he's taking whatever he has with him. That should be the theory. Let's see if it works out that way. I hope so. He is 14 now. He was, let me just check, 24, died in 1129. He was only 5 years old when his father died, so does not have a recollection or good recollection of his father. Probably idealizes him, because he was also then brought to the court of his grandfather, Raimon Guilhèm, and raised to be a Gothian rather than Aragonese man. But then Raimon Guilhèm also died 1136, 2 years ago. And now he's left with all of these snakes around him. And he doesn't know whom to trust, and he doesn't trust anyone lightly. As we see, he has developed this paranoia that everyone's scheming against him. Everyone wants to vie for his position. This also makes him a very angry man, a young man, and he is vengeful. He is not going to take slights lightly, which means that Albert here, who has risen against him before, led a faction, basically threatened to fight his own family. He's not forgiving him, and he'll keep that in mind, and he'll look for any kind of opportunity to get back at Albert here. Now, what do we do with him? He is a strong man, a young man. He is growing up to be a good fighter, as we do see here. His prowess is excellent already. Of course, that's due to the wolf's mail. His I can't access the inventory from here. Well, we'll have a look at that in a second. But that's the famous armor that Guilhèm the wolf wore. So there we have that. I think they also had the spear of Angoulême, but I think that was put in his grave, I think, by Raimon Guilhèm. But now, we do play him, and we are going to see where his path will take him, and how long that path will actually be in the end. With this setup here, he's going to be a troubled person, I think. I hope it's going to be fun still. He's not callous, right? That's something new. And I think when you combine this vengefulness, wrathfulness, even paranoia, he is a very emotional person that would rather listen to his instincts than listen to reason. And that's something to keep in mind for myself. Right, so there we go. Contrastingly, he's actually a charming person, so he can be outgoing and be a good diplomat kind of person, talking to people and so on. But he's, I think, using it as a shield, as a mask, to hide what's behind it. So this charming side of him, really is a mask that he wears. Doesn't reflect his personality in that sense. Right, and there we are. I think that took me about an hour. I'm going to place chapter markers, of course, so you can skip if you don't want the lengthy talking about the family part, but there we go. There we did it. Let's go back to where we currently are. Whoops. And here we are. And let's take a quick look into the scattered realm that is the March of Gothia. Of course, the main part down here in northern Spain, obviously now part of France, but then of course, Angoulême is counting into this. Beyac is in it as well, and belongs to it as well. This is again reflective of medieval distributions of rulership and this kind of vassal liege system that is not or would not result in just like big land masses or anything usually, but rather these scattered kind of dependencies. At the end of the day, of course, the further you are away from it, the more freedom you have. So Fouquin here, he would, he won't be bothered by people from Gothia all the time. He can basically do what he wants. I think there's no system inside of Crusader Kings 3 that reflects that. I saw a mod that does that actually. Might play with it in the future. But yeah. That's for that. That is the March of Gothia, and we are ruling in Barcelona. That's where the court is, or where the kind of court of snakes has it's kind of meandered to, because Raimon Guilhèm brought them here. And this thing that I said before, this kind of, we only have this alliance with Aragon, and that's not worth that much, because Aragon here, while it is a kingdom, is not a big one. Right? She could bring 800 troops. That's not much. If there was some kind of uprising that we needed to go against. So we need a very strong alliance. And the only way we can seek an alliance right now is through our own marriage. So I had a look around. And of course, the biggest player here are Castile. Not going to happen. They are already married to our line through Gigon here. And I think she, who would have been a perfect marriage, because look at her traits, she's very good, brave and diligent and ambitious, but she's already married to someone else. So that's not where we can go. Also rules out Aquitaine, so those two options here, Castile and Aquitaine, that would not be it. Then, if we go further east, we have, of course, the Holy Roman Empire, with Kaiser Gerhard here of the Salian dynasty, that is still going strong. And he does have daughters, she's already betrothed, but I think she isn't, right? Princess Oda. She isn't betrothed, and I think they would allow for this, right? Yes. There we go. So, yeah, that would obviously be a huge thing to marry into the Holy Roman Empire. The only thing what keeps me from it is that we will have to fight in a lot of wars, and we would not be, I think, being able to rely on their support for most of the time, because they're just distracted with their own internal wars and everything most of the time. Now, the same can be said about the Kingdom of Burgundy, but they are closer to us, right? There we go. That's a stone throw away from us. And he does have daughters like Bertha and Perona, who's also Hale, but she's currently in prison in Calabria, okay. And Brunhild, who's a bleeder, so she's not an option. But either of these here, Bertha or Perona, they could be our marriage candidates. Now, which ones to choose? I think, well, Bertha here, of course, since she's deceitful, chaste, and just. I don't think she would very much like us. It's going for her sister as well, because she's also growing up to be just. But maybe she is going into a different direction when it comes to her other traits. Let's see whom she's raised by her father. He's zealous and temperate. Okay, yeah. Let's have a look. But I think I would like to go for her. Now, we do see she is currently in prison, so we can't do that. But she should not be in prison at some point. So there we go. Let's have a look at her. And let's see what happens there. But yeah. He also fights in a lot of wars. His own realm is kind of not very stable. As you do see, he still has lands back here that I hope he will lose at some point, because that's going to keep him in wars endlessly. Going to be very, very interesting to see where that leads. But for now, we need to wait. Really click on her every now and then just to check out that if she will be available for marriage. Let's do some quick things. I wanted to set our brewmaster to share with the court, just to make sure that our court likes us a bit better, which is currently something that we need to enforce. Then I wrote down, we can actually look for placing someone as a cardinal again. And while Guy here is a choice, certainly we do want to have someone from the family doing this. So we could put Emilio in this position here. As you do see, 510, that's not bad at all, actually. And he is, 34. He will grow. His score here will grow with age, so let's see where that will go. I have other people at court that I wanted to marry, I think. And that would be... Alright, that guy here. Ramir del Port. He doesn't have a job currently. He's also very old and infirm. Currently serving at the night, but I don't want that. I think I want him to live out his last days in a convent. Right? He doesn't have any family, so this will be fine for him. So basically, he gets older and he needs someone to care for him. So inside of the monastery, he will be cared for. So that's what I'm looking for. Also going to already exclude him here. He should definitely not pick up arms anymore. There we go. Yeah, that's better. And now, I wanted to look into marriages, and there was one that I wanted to look into. Or is he not at my court? I'll have a look at that in a second. No, I think he is not. That is why I wanted to do a marriage. I didn't... last I played this was a week ago, so I do forget things. There's the famous... Oh, yeah, that's what I was going for. No, not her. There we go. Berenguer de Uchey, who is of the line that actually ruled the county of Uchey. And they are not there anymore, as you do see. Probably at some point rebelled against Raimon Berenguer when we weren't playing him. And then he just, snatched away their land. But I think it's important to keep their line going. And he's currently nowhere here in near Saragossa. So I can actually, if I marry him, and I'm going to marry him to Maud de, we'll see in a second why we do that. There we go. We will actually be able to bring him to our court. Maybe put him into a position at some point. Maybe even bring him back to Uchel. I do have a plan though in my head. And lastly, I do have a prisoner that is Soberana here. And she was the spy master for Albert. And she was engaging in a scheme at my own court. And as we believe, she is also behind Albert's scheming. Obviously, she was the spy master. So we want to send a message here. And in the past, I've always let people go. I was like, yeah, okay, that happened and so on. But he's vengeful and wrathful, paranoid as well. He wants to make a show. But he can't because she's still traveling. So when she's going to arrive, she is going to be offed. There we go. Other things that I can do. Low county control, yeah. He is still in the Yeda doing this, okay. Appoint a worthy successor, yeah. Alright, there we go. That's there she is, the Lady of Valor, Henri de Courtenay. I still don't have a name for this. I did not make up a name. This is the... let's call him the first of the Vanguard for now. I think that sounds about right. So we have the head knight of the Norman retainers and the first of the Vanguard. Oh, it should not include the. Right, then we'll just call him first of the Vanguard. There we go. Alright, he is 55. He still has a very good prowess though, so I think we could leave this for some years before we look for a new one. How about him? I think with him it's more a problem. So we need to look for a successor for his accolade. Don't know if we still get a Norman here. That would be nice. Anyways, okay. Now, what else do we need to do? An alliance with your brother-in-law, Ubald. No, that's not what I would do. Not at this point anyway. Any alliance that we have will worsen our abilities to have other alliances, so no. Potential alliances, right? They don't want to do this right now. Of course, Albert doesn't want to, and we don't want to. I think that's something we definitely do not want. He does not think in this rational term of, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. He does not believe in that, certainly. That sounded like a scream, but that's actually part of the music. Okay. Whew. We are in line to inherit titles, of course. That's the heir of us for us. No, but we are first in line for Aragon, Huesca, Sobrarbe, and 4th in line actually for the Duchy of Toulouse. That's interesting. Very interesting, actually. And we have Guilhèm, 7th, the son of Berenguer Raimon Guilhèm. Okay. Yeah, he looks like the part. Okay. He is part of the Barcelona, of the House of Barcelona, and I guess that's where that's coming from, not from her line, I think. Yeah. And so, let me just check this again. There is him, then Duc de Barcelona here. Alright, okay, they are just... Okay, yeah, I see. That's actually something to consider. I think we have the direct claim on this as well? No. Okay, I think the father had the claim and he wanted to do something about it, but we never got to do it. We'll see. We will see. I guess it's now 1 hour and 10 minutes in. And we finally start playing. That would be something, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe we just do that. Let's just roll. The music in the background. The drums. There we go. The lumbering. What does that mean? Is that an insult? Yeah. Thank you for putting me in this path of righteousness. Okay. There you go. And he accepts the marriage proposal. There you go. He already has this kind of like hunched position here. So he goes well, I think, with her who's actually hunchbacked. There you go. Departed for our court. That's good stuff. Yeah, we don't make that much gold, right? That's something to keep in mind. You are not betrothed. Yeah, I know. You could also marry into England with her here. But I don't think I want that. They're further away. Culturally more distant. Yeah, not a first choice by any means. And I think the others here are just not that interesting, really. Yeah. Always need to check now, every now and then, that she's going to get back. Sadly, no alarm that I could have here. Oh, he got lost, okay. And their union is, they may be little more than strangers, that's fine. Just don't kill yourself, please. Charles d'Angoulême and so... Ah, there we go. Now, as I said, currently in the dungeons here, would he actually go and torture her? I think I can't do that. Oh no, I can. Yeah, because we might discover a secret if she holds one. And I think that's something that he wants. He wants to have some kind of information on Albert, if she has any. So, yeah, I think he will do that. The sweet kiss of the whip. It might look innocent, but it can separate flesh from bones just as well as any knife. A truth Soberana is soon to experience. She will be sleeping on her stomach for quite some time. It had to be done, I guess. There she is. And she didn't reveal anything. And now to show Albert here that we mean what we say, she's going to be executed. She's a lowborn, so she will not be beheaded. That is something that is always reserved for nobility. We could hang her, of course. That would be the usual thing to do. We could do other things. We could break her on a wheel. That is gruesome. But we could do more gruesome stuff, basically. To really drive that point home. Or garrote her, which is like the more... the crueler version of hanging, I think. Yeah, as we do see, he will lose opinion of us. Yeah, executed my subject. So yeah, that's definitely what we want, actually. publicly held execution. That's actually nice. That would even give us some popular opinion, because they would see that their ruler is not someone to be trifled with. Yes, we break her on a wheel. And I guess we're going to hear the CK2 scream in a moment. A while after I gave the order to execute Soberana, my guardian Charles took me down to the gallows, promising that what I would see would be valuable learning opportunity. Soberana's eyes are a deep red from her tears as she steps towards the executioner. She attempts to remain silent, but cannot help but gently whimper and choke as she contemplates her impending demise. Regardless of how this spectacle makes me feel, it's all over far too quickly for me to even have the chance to call off the act. Once the deed is done and Soberana's heart beats no more, Charles leaves me alone with the body to contemplate what I've done. Oh wow, okay. We grow a rivalry with Charles, or closer to forming a rivalry. Our own guardian, who is of the d'Angoulême line. Gain 100 stress because he's charming. Ay. And then, yeah, okay. I guess, this is the first time he's really confronted with death. So he would see now that what he does actually has consequences. Yeah. There we go. He will not do that lightly. I awaken in the early hours knowing the day's grim duty. Yeah, that's the same story told again. But yeah, there we go. Let's see what's going to happen now with the stress level. There we are. Recently I feel like I'm not worthy to be Marquess. To do others doubt themselves as I doubt myself. I try to be good, cautious, but I can't predict everything. There are always more traitors to find, more hidden plots. Yeah. I think all of these make sense, in a way. So I'm going to roll a die for this. And it's the first one. Yeah. He's going to be a recluse. There we go. Lowered diplomacy and stewardship. But better stress loss and better plague resistance, actually. Improves the withdraw from you countermeasure, okay. Yeah, he often sequesters himself away and neglects his responsibilities. That's his paranoia coming through here, right? There we go. Becoming a recluse. Something that I wanted to do, that I think reflects Unia and her position here as the regent, is that she would obviously have the ear now and she would be able to do things on her own. And I think something that she would be strongly going for, oh no, wait a second, oh no, is having land of her own, but I will go back to that in a second. Reveals something deeply unpleasant. A plague has arrived. Oh no. Yeah. I guess. Oh, we summon the physician. That's always the best thing to do in that case. In Girona, but not in our... Oh no, it has already come to our court. I see. He is doing his control plagues thing. That's good. I think we're actually not that bad off. 35 is actually quite okay. Yeah, but we can isolate the capital. And I think he is someone who would go into personal seclusion. There we go, secluded for 5 years, yeah, I guess. Yeah, carried far away from the stink of the capital's heart late at night, I and my family remain distant from the people of the realm. That's just him in the end, right? Because everyone else is not here. Yeah, he's very much on his own. By the way. She's still in prison. Good. Okay. Not good, but at least we know. Let me just check. The dim flickering light of Guy's infirmary illuminates the scene as the physician lays out a plan of attack. Those afflicted by Mozarab boils are besieged by red spots like I've never seen before. This plague is sent to us by Satan. and it is only by thinking outside the box of traditional medicine that we can hope to undo this curse. Ultimately, the exact strategy for preventing the spread of this plague is mine to take. I've said that in his voice. I think in that case he would go with what Guy here is telling him. Probably that is one of the only people he trusts right now. Also lets him treat his own wounds and things, right? So he is important to him. Yeah, okay. You do your mystic things, and they will help, I hope. I hope. Oh, what do we have here? Teresa the Virgin, I see. Oh, she was married, though. That's a bit shady. But, yeah, we've got more pressing matters right now. Oh, I will not receive messages anymore, but this, yeah, I guess that's okay. The disease, which was set to spread like a flame to paper across my realm, has slowed to a crawl. The radical measures proposed by Guy have taken a toll on the economy in the short term, but Mozara balls may not quite be the threat we had all feared. Okay. Major epidemic prevention. Holding tax minus 20%. Wow. But plague resistance plus 15. Okay. I don't know if that's actually worth it. Okay, spreading. Is that a major one? No, it's a minor one. Okay. Someone tries to kill my courtier Ethelwith. Well, of course they do. Who's our current spy master? Alright, that is Count Ruben of Girona. Okay, so that is actually someone we need to keep close. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, so I was going to war. That's not going to happen. Low German tutor. I think Low German is the current language spoken by our king. Isn't that true? Yeah. So that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, that's 25 gold, but I think that's a good choice. I'm currently learning a different language, right? I'm learning Iberian, but I should be learning from her afterwards. Crowned Sovereign. Law. Courtly. I guess that's part of the new DLC. The Orthodox clergy have proclaimed a different patriarch, okay. They still have the iconoclast thing going for them. I don't know. As we do see by the coloration, it's much worse here than it is at our court. Yeah, plague resistance of 90. He is advancing in his field. That's good for him. He's already excellent, so... Yeah, I guess for now the only thing that we can wait for is for this to pass. Don't want to send troops through this. Constructs a building, that's a catalyst trigger. Alright, yeah, we are within the struggle, right? So, I am an involved character. Phase is starting. Okay. Next phase, opportunity. Alright. Oh, he gained experience in the wise man trait. Yay. Ooh. That is actually something to look out for here. Oh, and there she is. No, that's not her. That's her. That does complicate matters. That complicates that a bit. For the Prince Archbishopric of Champagne. Okay. And that is actually against our own family here. But yeah, it does make sense for him to do that. Alright, and he probably will succeed in that. Nevertheless, I think our marriage proposal here is not part of that. So, I'll promise this. We can actually promise a grand wedding, but I don't know if we will have enough money by that time. That's 6 years. I mean, we should say that what we want to do it, but I think we can say it upon the actual betrothal, and we can check what the state of our coffers will be at that point. Okay, what do we have here? Anne de Angoulême, alright. Oh yeah. This is, yeah, we're going to have a look into our court and see what's happening here. Someone is plotting to kill me. Okay, so that is obviously huge. 0% secrecy, that's great, or should be great. As I said before, I don't trust that number. I think this number only really tells about how secretive your scheme is when it ends, if you're found out afterwards. But I never saw a direct correlation with how quickly you find out about who is running it. 43% success chance, okay. Currently at minus 27. What do we have here? Withdraw from view. Minus 150 success chance. I will lose general opinion. And the claim throne will even be... I think for now he could stay here, but obviously he's alert. And for everyone that's going to take part in this... there we go. Betrothed, yes. And I think, yeah, that already gave us this alliance. It's probably call us into wars soon. Oh well. The war that is already here. Yeah, I guess nothing we can do right now instead like waiting for this to be over. It's not in Uray, it's not in Ueda. Your wet nurse is terrible. Yeah, I guess because she's almost dead. I guess that would make her a terrible wet nurse. Yeah, but I guess I'll wait for her to just sit this one out. Right, now we do have these women here at court. Is there something we can do in order to keep them at court? When it comes to the VA, I think they have already married into... No? Alright, they have married into House Angoulême by that connection. Yeah. So that would make them practical sisters or siblings. That's not going to roll. Who's he? Jérôme de Vallon. I think he is the next... Is he... There you go. Yeah, could already be forced. There we go. Right. In that case, I think it would be prudent to marry him into... Yeah, let's have Camellia here. They're both gluttonous. They can be both fat together. Feed themselves. As people do, I guess. Yeah, there's the notification. All right. Time of legacy. And when their final hour nears, their name lives on the lips of peers. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, she did. That's okay. We have more people here. I guess she could be in that position. We're expecting her to have children soon. By the way, I installed a mod that actually lets us have people at court that we want to keep at court. Although right now I can't... no, oh, that's court artificer, okay. Right, I can basically put anyone in here. So for anyone that doesn't have a position right now, for example Ehrenberger here, I could put her in that position and then we wouldn't lose her. She would not leave the court. Randomly. Maybe let's do that. Maybe with Julia of Scotland. Yeah. Someone to keep around, I think. Anyone else here that we could use for this position? Probably not her, we don't need that because she's married to Taillefer. I hope they will all recover. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, maybe him. Because we definitely don't have anything else for him. But I see that costs me, right? It's all costing me. They could barely keep their hands off each other. Yes, of course. Of course they couldn't. Ah, still looking angry. Guess he doesn't have any reason to be... yeah, happy. Regent swings the scales of powers against you, and she's now more powerful. I guess there's nothing we can do about it currently. She's self-interested. Yeah, of course she would be. She wants something for her own. Now, I hope this will be over soon. You just turn it up a notch. When is his birthday? May. Anything he can do right now, by the way? Oh, a grand tour. Oh, that would be something we could do at some point, right? Intimidation, probably. How is his dread? Yeah, his natural dread is at 40. Spoiler alert, it's going to rise. Oh, he has succumbed to the measles, did William Ay, okay. Oh yeah, and we swayed Guy. Maybe we can use that for someone else now, because, yeah. Maybe we can use this to bring Ruben here in line. There we go. That's his charming side, right? Charming the people he knows he needs to have close. Oh yeah, we need another court brewmaster. There we go. Oh, that's her. Low Franconian. Yeah, maybe she brought some knowledge with her from Germany. Well, it's the Dutch people that watch this on our... Well, it's, Germany is also the wrong word for it. Oh, I could go on that tangent at some point. Talk about why it's called Germany in English and why it's called Allemagne. Or Allemande in French. Count Vezien paid 60 coin to you. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, thanks, Unia. That's at least something. Do we... Yeah, it's still going on, but I guess it's on... It's retreating now. Mm-hmm. No. There we go. Yeah, of course, we are the last bastion. It's still... Yeah, there we go. It's not there anymore. I think it's the beginning of the year. This is actually a good point. So, like I said, the Robert's Taillefer line, they want to have land. And the perfect opportunity, of course, is directly here. Turtusah, what is Tarragona. So... I think we could just say, seize the March of Gothia. Yeah, okay. We seize this as a claim, as a de jure claim. There we go. As you can see, we are actually quite in the... There you go. Ah! Damn it, that's not where I wanted my army to be. I want my rally point to be here. Who? Oh, can't put it there. Okay, no. I guess because they are here. Can't put that directly next to a hostile army. Okay, raise the army now. Who's going to lead it? And I think Unia will take control of this. This is more of like her plot, her ploy than ours. Oh, Charles has died. That's actually a huge thing. Because now we need a new chancellor. Is that the point where we would consider bringing Fulkine back to the fold? I guess we would need him. So you see, he's still not very much on our side. Maybe we can get him there. Alright, okay, so she's raising 15 days left. Why is that taking so long? Probably because we need to receive armies from all over our little realm. There we go, 1,000 against their 400 here, and yeah, this should be decisive. Don't think we need anyone else for this, really. There we are. There she is, fighting. There we go. The Battle of Turtusah ended in an astounding victory. I eagerly listen to the messenger as he reads the report from my commander Unya, and then turn to the soldiers before me. My lord, we cornered the remaining enemies as they made a valiant stand. They gave their lives protecting this banner. The Turtusah war banner. Oh, that's actually quite nice. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it to court and display it, actually. There you go. We already have another war banner here. There we are. And this is just for show, right? We show others that arrive at our court that we are able to, yeah, defeat our enemies. 10 months. Now, that's not a great thing. But yeah, that's just the way it is. He is certain that my court here, Batistan, is scheming against me. So, there we go. Batistan de Villiers. He will be thrown in jail. The thing is, does scheming against me mean he is part of any of these schemes or against me? That's the part I think this one here is not affected by it, right? So I guess that he was not scheming directly in this scheme against me, but rather in one of these other schemes. Nevertheless, that is not something I condone. What can I do, really? Or what do I want to do? I think he's not eager on executing people right now. I think he still has this image in his head of the woman screaming and so on. So he does know the consequences that he puts people in. I think that keeping him in the dungeons for a while will sort him out. Let's hope I don't forget him there. And if he dies in there, then, well, that's not my fault. We haven't here. Yeah, I can, of course, call allies to war, but I don't need that terribly. Of course, it would be nice to have some more besiegers. Do I actually have someone here? No. Your neighbor, Duke Centaur, has won against King Fernando of Castile in the Aquitanian War for Count Centaur's claim on the Kingdom of Navarra. Okay. But he is not a king. So what happened here? Ah, that's Centaur. And that is his son. So the person who will actually inherit all of this. So we're gonna have a very powerful kingdom right next to us. That is not France anymore. Interesting. Okay. Sancha has gifted me a jeweled circlet that displays the status of House Taillefer. She wants me to represent House Taillefer with authority and uphold our family values. There we go. And that was from our mother. We receive 10 renown, actually, and we gain a jeweled circlet. I will be an exemplar. I think that's part of the mod, right? The House Traditions mod. I mean, I do have my father's crown, but I think this would be perfect, right? To say, okay, we exchange this now for our own. There we go. Oh, it's actually isn't bad condition already. Then we will repair it. Can we actually maybe put this into... Yeah. I think we already have one here, right? That's Guilhèm's. Maybe at some point I will stop doing that because it's a bit silly. There you go. But I think... oh no, is it silly? Because maybe we could exchange it with that one here. So that we have those two next to each other. And then that's oil. Because we show our heritage. we show that we have come from this line of Count Guilhèm of Estève, who was the king consort of Aragon. We are proving lineage. Would it make sense to call someone else into this? Maybe someone who also has... Does she have siege weapons? She does. Ah, but 350 prestige is quite a lot for something I can do on my own. Aha. Unia Taillefer gained 75 gold. There she is, doing her thing. Right? Because she can. I think this reflects very well the position she's in. Yeah, there we go. It was a slaughter. A slaughter of Turtusah. Huh? Oh! Yeah, I get what that is. No, I thought the other Charles was, okay, dead. Okay, that's not him. Weird message there right now. Just kind of mod conflict. Anyway, I wanted to look into this for a moment. French footman, retinue vanguard. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. There we go. I guess I feel accomplished. I'm not writing anyone letters. That might come back to haunt me. I don't know. Oh, we need a new seneschal. And that, of course, is going to be Charles here. Direct continuation. Of course. That is the suitable position for him. What did I want to do here? What did I come here for? Alright, yeah. I wanted to seek out her unfortunate Radegund. Unfortunate because of her disfigurement and being wounded. And wanted to learn her language. There we go. Yep, also at 90%. Can I still learn that, by the way? 3 out of 3. Can I unlearn English? I think it doesn't work that way. Oh well. I think he's going to get used to being stressed a lot. That's, I think, something that's going to happen to him frequently. Right, this is still going. 6 months left. I can just speed it up a little, I guess. He's now 15. Soon to be recognized as an adult. Can I do that? No. Right, only we have these positions here. Oh, he's actually quite good, right? 32 martial. There we go. Oh yeah, emerge from seclusion. Alright, yeah, I guess. Oh, and that gave me stress. Hey, I'm back! Ow! But it's not here anymore. We're fine, aren't we? We are actually fine. Yeah. And did that do something to my murder scheme? No, it didn't. Although it has lowered now, right? So was he part of that in the end? How long has he been there? I think we should keep him there for a year. Oh, look at that. Gained the trait forgiving. Something we don't understand. But there we go. Forgiving people will just be trampled. Something that the clerics say, but they don't mean it. Three months. Yeah, I guess he's trying to do something here, but I think he also has other wars. Yeah. Oh, do we have here? And hope only for memory's grace, so that the whole world remembers their face. Okay. No, I think it's better than the last one. What do we have here? Oh. Ah, this one is also already executed. That was fast now. Alright. Probably someone we can ransom. Okay, so now we... Ooh, that did not actually make it. We are still at... Ugh. Alright. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's going to take us. I was hoping I could... Yeah, but he's going here now. What is this? My court tutor Sora has been aiding me day and night in my efforts to learn Low German. I guess she's just doing her job well, right? I'm not here to give any rewards, especially it gives me so much stress to do that. Oh, we talk about Sicily. A frontier like Sicily can only suffer so much instability before it inevitably declines. Over time, it was devastating from a declining economy, depopulation and immigration, and never-ending warfare due to both internal squabbles and outside attacks, a declining economy. During this period of transformation, the Latin West has emerged as the strongest influence in these ruined lands, forming something of a societal and cultural substrate. Still, even such ties are not enough to overcome the reality of Sicily. The irony that a region located in the center of the Mediterranean has, ultimately, become its impoverished periphery. Maybe one day ambitious rulers will make Sicily prosperous and prominent again. Until then, it must linger on in irrelevance. That's sad, isn't it? And I guess that's, yeah, the wars here have never been resolved. Now it's part of Burgundy, part of Venice, part of the Byzantine Empire. So yeah, there we go. Another giant. Why are there so many giants in this game? I don't understand. Oh yeah, we can ransom her, and that we will do. I mean, the question could be like, why don't we, I don't know, execute her, whatever. He is vengeful after all, but no, he's only vengeful for people that did him any wrong. That guy didn't do anything against him. Quite the opposite. We're doing something against him. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Oh, she pilfered even more money. Look at that. Enriching herself. She's already planning. She's planning to go ahead. So there we are. Another 12 months. Ugh. I was hoping this would be over sooner. Archers, lose! Yeah, I guess. Huh. Oh, I can actually swing this. Yeah, you should not become that powerful. No, definitely not gold. Prestige or piety? I think piety. There you go. The Knights of Santiago has been established by Alava by King Santol. Yeah, at least that makes sense somewhat. It's at least close. Unlike the Teutonic Order, I think that's somewhere here in the Mediterranean now. 39 people at court. Yeah, somewhere obviously dying. Is he trying to get this back? My knight. Is Robert scheming against my court? No, but here it says against my court Emilia. So it does, when it says against me, that is actually part of the scheme against me. Okay. Then, I mean, in his case, and yeah, again, we could say that Unia has her hands in this somehow. We could just say that let him be known to all. And he's also this kind of guy that bullied us to a degree, right? So that's still affecting us as well. I can choose another dynasty legacy. That's interesting. Should we go into that direction here again? Short reign duration minus 20% are less likely to join claimants factions and liberty factions. That's actually great, isn't it? And it would assertive rulers, yeah, that would Actually, general opinion plus 10, yeah. Let's complete this path here. Assertive rulers. I like it. Actually make quite some jump here. Where did this come from? Someone in our family... the Kingdom of Navarra is here in... Okay. Did someone do something huge? That's going to take 7 months. Ugh, damn it. If I leave an army here... Yeah. This army is then likely being attacked by him. This is... I don't like it. I don't like it, but I think I have to do it like this. At least if he's attacking from the sea, he will have a strong disadvantage. And he's now leading this, and he's a god of warfare. Yep. She taking with her, I guess, the retinue vanguard. Yeah. Not going to stand a chance against the retinue vanguard, mate. And I really hate that you're walking through my land. Because that's going to shadow people. Anyway, there we go. She's caught up with them. All our knights, all our retinue, there we go, just like vaporizing in front of our eyes. Bam. There you go. Now reunite with the main host here. Yeah. And just call it a skirmish. No one on our side died. All of his guys died, of course. Now we did the job for him actually here. Alright. Speed it up again, since there's nothing really to be done. She is no longer the red nurse. Why is that the case? Then we'll have her, I guess. Well, I guess she's going to be out of a job in a moment, because when we get... Okay, so now we know that he actually was behind this. Now, oh yeah, we just put her in this position. This guy is still our caravan master. This is a prominent family that we know has been loyal for some time, so I guess we would likely say that that was his doing, not theirs as a whole. So we will not punish the whole family, but instead we will banish him. Yeah. There we go, and I think... Yeah, we kept the other guys, yeah. Good. There we go. Oh, I guess she would take command again. Well, we do not yet know who. Someone is plotting to kill my uncle Dodon. Just like, everyone's killing everyone again. Oh, his own wife. Goody. There we are. With the help of Charles, I have completed my studies of intrigue. Even if the highest aspects of the subjects eludes me, I lived up to everyone's expectation and learned more than most. That is intricate web weaver, okay. As I take my first steps into adulthood, I find myself reminiscing about some of the people who have made an impact on the man I have become. The friendship I have shared with Estefania, alright, meant a lot to me when we were both young, and to still have her by my side means a lot. Okay. Oh, she's not at our court. I wonder if Andrekina remembers the things I put her through. Okay. Oh, poor Andrekina. When we were young. Oh, bullied her a little. Okay. -5 opinion. Okay. All right. I guess there we are. There's things we can do. We can end our regency. I guess we will have to go for piety once more. We don't have the gold to do that. That'll be fine, wouldn't it? I think it comes with something else as well, and that is kind of a favor, but I won't give it a favor now because then it would be in addition to this. Oh, we got to this when this is over. So yeah, we'll discharge her as soon as possible. It will be easier probably because she's not in the capital right now, but she has the army. Right, that is something to keep in mind. And I will, definitely go into the intimidation focus, right? Threats, both overt and subtle, guide the path to true power. There we go. Yep, natural dread plus 30. So, yeah, we're getting there, I guess. Monthly change plus 0.7. That's his path. That's where he will go. Okay, we can do other things. We can hold court and we can support the way of St. James. I guess that is something we would do. Just make sure that the church recognizes us as well. We still have this heritage here of being parents that were closely related. So yeah, let's do this. Right, every day Christian pilgrims trek across the territories are ruled to reach the tomb of St. James in the Christian holy site of Santiago, and that goes two ways now. That goes one through the Via Turonensis here, but then there's a different pilgrimage route that goes through here, right? That we are also now caring for. It's the least I can do. There we go. What modifier did we get it? Oh, distant. High control. Okay. Well, it's not nothing. Randomly gain some stress. Oh yeah, arousal. I get it. Okay. Let's hold court. Probably the last thing I will do today. Sitting on my throne, I gesture for my guards to open the doors of the hall. A stream of people file in, some lining up in front of my throne while others move out of the way, so they can simply observe the proceedings. After several moments, all movement in the chamber has ceased. All faces turn towards mine expectantly. In front of me, I count 3 petitioners lined up in an orderly row, waiting for me to call on them. Yeah. A middle-aged man steps before me with quiet dignity before bowing deeply. Greetings, your majesty. I am Roger, your loyal servant. I come before you today to seek employment in your court. I'm an experienced fighter, having served the local lords and garrisons of Payar, my homeland. It would be my honor to put my talents to a greater cause in the service of my Marquess and all good here. Okay. Yeah, I guess he's a confident knight. He's good in prowess. He is a bleeder. And he's already 52. Well, yeah. It seems that I will have to put him in another position here. I guess that's the Master of the Horse. No. Court Chronicle. Why can't I just take him on as a knight? Because I would do that. But no. I would not put him into any of these positions here. So very sorry. And he's dead. He walked out the door, stumbled, got a scratch on his arm and bled out. That's what happened to him. Emilio approaches me with a spring in his step. My liege, Emilio says, full of excitement. I have a great idea that can bring you either money or fame. You have amassed quite the collection of artifacts, my lord, so why not put them on display? Yeah, that's actually what we want to do. You could charge for viewing your collection or for free so that more people will view it. He clears his throat before continuing. People do have a tendency to want the things they see, so the downside might be that more people will try to claim your artifacts. What? That's actually quite nice because we can use the coin. So yeah, I'll go for that. I'm faced with Arnaud Miro de Tost's sad eyes. Tost. Okay. Son of Andorra. And she is of the Duchel family. Ushers into us. My Marquess, she laments. The boy has been at Lucatz's court with no one to watch over him since the disappearance of his dear papa. Please look to his future. What can be done with such a child? Yeah, we will find a place, I guess. Alright. My business here is done. So, go into hiding. Yeah, that's what we immediately do. I guess we should have a close look on the development of this. Jesus Christ, look at those murder schemes. Hey. Ruben here has cut it out for himself. Well, he is really good at this. So there we go. I mean, generally, look at our council. They are masters of their craft, all of them. Right, okay. So I am at the 2-hour mark. Of course, this episode was not much about me doing gameplay or anything. I hope it was alright anyway. We have delved into the history of the Taillefer dynasty. And I guess now we have this clean cut, kind of. Raimon Guilhèm here. He is actually, I think he has never been to Angoulême. Or maybe he was for the funeral of his grandfather. Oh no, his great-grandfather then, because Raimon Guilhèm, I think, was buried here, right? So, yeah. He definitely has strongest ties to Aragon. That's where he grew up as a child, and then Gotia, where he grew up now as a young adult. And yeah, that's the center of his attention here right now. We will probably not look back that much anymore to Gotia, to Angoulême, right? Well, let's see. Let's see. Everything can change. What was he doing, by the way? He is currently on our way. Ah, he's on his way because he probably wants to pay homage. Let's see how that's going to go. Well, I mean, as for now, I'll see you next time. So, yeah, cheers. Bye-bye.